For many years, when I wanted to adjust the sky, and while the sky is very pretty, it's not overly interesting, I would do it in Photoshop, which is certainly possible, and took a lot of work and a lot of time. A couple of years ago, when LandscapePro came out, I started using it and have not stopped using it since. I do use Luminar 4 Sky Change on occasion, and I do use the new one in Photoshop CC on occasion, but this one is still my go-to. And for a complex photo like this, and by complex I mean there's a lot of trees in the sky, there's buildings in the sky, there's trees on the buildings, I find this is probably the best thing for me to use. So first I will go on my right side and duplicate the background. So I'm just working on the background layer in LandscapePro. By the way, LandscapePro does run standalone if you don't have Photoshop or don't want to run it through Photoshop. I'm running this through Photoshop for a reason I will show you at the end. I go up to Filter at the top, and I go down to Anthropics and LandscapePro. When I first started using LandscapePro, I would try and label everything in the photo: the sky, the trees, the buildings, and the grass. Even though they said you don't have to label everything. So one day I decided, okay, with something like this, maybe it would be easier if I just labeled the sky. That's it. And I click Continue. So it tries to find the sky as best it can. Of course, you can see it didn't get everything. But I just go over here to this icon, Object in the Sky. Click on it and start painting over the sky areas. You click and hold the mouse and just run the mouse over the sky areas. Now if you're not sure, you can come up here to the top and click on the original and get a look to see where there's still sky. And then you can go back and check this out again later. Okay, now also here there's a couple places over here and over here where it thinks it's sky, but it's not. So for that I'm going to go to the pull icon and just pull what this is called the unlabeled. I didn't assign a label to it. Just make sure all the unlabeled is covered as unlabeled and not sky. And now I'm going to go back to the object in the sky, and here you see there's some branches I didn't get. Now I might not get all the branches in here, but I'll get enough so that no one will know the difference. And here's some sky over here. Now if I want to see a larger view, I can just roll my mouse, and yeah, I found something here. And I found something here. Go back to the object in the sky. I know it's getting some of the building. We'll fix that in a second. Go back to the pull tool. I could also try the smart brush. That might work better over there. Scale it down. Click on the area you want to start with. This is unlabeled. It's not getting it. Okay, so we'll go to the pull tool and we'll roll the mouse up, scroll the mouse wheel to get the rest of the building. And roll it down a bit. I'm looking over here. I'm going to go to original. That is not sky over there. Okay. And scroll down more. Looks like this is sky here probably. Go back to my object in the sky. Pick up a few more branches. I didn't like that, so I'm going to take that out with Control Z, undo, or undo up here. Now I'm going to look at original, and there will be yet another check on this later on as we do this. Okay, then I just click on Continue, and it's going to show me the horizon line, which I'm going to raise just a little bit, and Continue. Now, had I set trees and grass and buildings, there would be labels for them here so I could individually manage each one. But I just set sky. You can work with other things like global presets and darkening and lighting with the brushes. That's not where I'm going today. Today I'm just going to look at the sky. Now their presets are dozens and dozens and dozens of presets. I don't generally use their skies. I use my own. So if I click on sliders, over here where it says clouds replace with is where I can have my skies set. The bottom of under this tutorial you can see where you'd place your own skies. And I click on it. So what I do is I've renamed all my skies with a dash in the beginning. So I know which ones are mine, because if I scroll down, I will eventually get to their skies. So I'm just going to go through my skies, which have a dash in the beginning, and pick one. Let's do a dramatic 355. Okay. By the way, I use my skies, and I also will buy pre-made skies from other people that have freedom of use, and I will use those. So I'm seeing something over here. I'm seeing blue here and blue here. Let's look at those first. Go to original. Okay, those are actually sky, so that's okay. So it must be, why is that over there? I don't know. I'm going to go back up to edit areas. I did not make that sky area, so I'm going to put object in sky and clean it up a bit. Go back to my sky, and I see a little bit over here and some up here and around here. So I'm going to go back to edit areas, object in sky, and see what that picks up here. Now it could be that there's blue in that sky, but we'll check that out in a second. Okay, that looks better. I'm just going to look over here, go to original, and look at this spot right here and this one right here. Edit areas. They are cleaned out, so that is part of the sky. To make sure, what I could do is I could go to a different sky. Okay, that shows clearly that yes, that is a sky area. Okay, now I go to, I'll leave the sky here. This is fine. You can click on the sky and move it up and down if there's room for it to change its position. Now I'm going to go to atmosphere. I'm going to pick a morning atmosphere. Now I have a lot of sliders here. This one is important if you're using your own sky. Copy to image. You want to copy the lighting of the sky down to your image to a greater or lesser degree. Okay. The exposure, temperature, tint, all these different tools, you're familiar with these in Lightroom or Photoshop or your favorite editor. You can adjust the sky edge to bring it closer down or further up if you're getting a line or chromatic aberration there. This sky looks pretty good, although I don't know that I like it because I don't like that cloud over there. So the wonderful thing about it is I just keep changing the sky to suit myself. Let's do a sunset sky. And drag. Does that drag up or down? Don't like that one either. Yes, I go through this all the time. I will find one that I like. I think I'll go back to a blue sky. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so now copy to image. Again, if I slide it back, it'll darken the image, lighten the image. Leave the sky right there, just some nice fluffy clouds. And one of the things, it puts the clouds behind the trees, so that's where I want them. I can also change my cloud colors, you'll see slight changes as I go down the list here. Okay, and of course I can add some haze if I want, or dehaze. Again, I generally leave these alone. Unless there's a reason I want to do something. Okay, now since I'm only using two things, I'm now going to close that and go to, oh, by the way, if you don't like it, you can just go to reset section and it will just go back to the beginning. So now go to unlabeled. The buildings, the trees, and the grass are all unlabeled. So I can just play with the contrasts and the high-low key and see what I like. But first I go to the presets and see if there's something in presets that I like. Oh, coal dusk, no, I don't want that. Contrast, desaturate. Sunrise, not bad, but I don't want that much saturation. So we're gonna do a sunrise, but then go to the sliders and I'm gonna turn vibrance down a bit. Actually, just make it, and leave saturation where it is, colorfulness where it is. Add a teeny bit of clarity, a teeny bit of sharpen. And now one of my favorite parts of this whole program is lighting. And I always start with the presets and say, where do I want the light source and the lighting to come from? That's low right, low left, and high. So I usually go to the one I like the best to start, but now I can drag this around to change the lighting and get the exact lighting I want for this photo. So I'm going to stop with this. It's a nice photo. It's got a good lighting, maybe a little bit brighter. And just say save and close. Now the reason, it's going to pop back into Photoshop in a moment or two. The reason I made a duplicate layer is once I do this and save and close, I cannot go back into the system. All right, this is where I am now. Okay, so there's my photo. The other reason why I do it out of Photoshop is if I turn this off, that's the original, here's the new. But now if I want to do more with it, I can go to the blend modes and highlight the blend modes and see if this, particularly if I have a solid blue or solid gray sky to start, and see if there's something I like. I've been into luminosity a lot, nothing there. Color. I believe it's saturation is nice. There's a little bit here. Let's see what happens if I turn it. That's cloud. Yeah, that's a part of a cloud. Okay, so that's all right. And now I just save the photo, and I'm done. Thank you.